Chapter 87. Gift from an XXX. Both were stunned by Ava's words, simultaneously giving her a thumbs up. Ava was still Ava, decisive and never wishy-washy. "I'm heading home. You two keep drinking. I have to go to the orphanage tomorrow." Ava pressed against the table edge and wobbled to her feet, waving goodbye as she walked. Autumn and Lena exchanged glances and shrugged. They didn't quite understand why Ava would rather visit children at orphanages with no blood relation than have her own. Ava pulled open the private room door and walked out. The corridor was dim. She'd barely taken 2 steps when she bumped into a wall of muscle. "Are your eyes on top of your head? Why'd you move closer when you saw someone?" Ava grumbled as she cursed the person out, then swayed with her bag, about to leave, but someone caught her by the waist. Today, she wore a dress with a cutout at the waist. The man's large hand pressed against her waist through the thin mesh, the cool temperature making her body tremble involuntarily. "What are you doing?" Ava coldly pushed the person away, but the person opposite didn't budge. Instead, she stumbled back several steps from the force. "What kind of drunken tantrum is this?" Adrian reached out and steadied Ava's swaying body, pulling her into his embrace with a slight tug. "What's this? Doesn't Wesley like you that much? How come he's still letting you get drunk here?" "None of your business." After the new year, Adrian had apparently gone abroad to develop new business lines. She hadn't seen Adrian in 3 months. She hadn't expected him to be back. "Where'd you pick up this drinking habit?" Adrian glanced at her, ignoring Ava's resistance as he led her outside. "Let go! Let go!" Ava angrily pounded on Adrian's arm, but he was like an impenetrable fortress. Her strength wasn't small, but it was far from matching Adrian's. Rosewater Lane. Ava was stuffed into the car by Adrian. The moment the door closed, she heard what Adrian said and immediately retorted indignantly, "I don't live on Rosewater Lane anymore. I live at Imperial Gardens Estate." So annoying, Adrian. "Mr. Pierce, should we go to—" The driver turned back, seeking Adrian's opinion. Adrian frowned and nodded. "Go to Imperial Gardens Estate. Who asked you to come to my house, Grace's boyfriend? Then open the car door and jump out." "Adrian Pierce, don't you have any compassion? I'm drunk and you're telling me to jump out of a car." "I'm just giving you a suggestion. Whether you take it isn't within my consideration." Ava angrily stepped on Adrian's shiny leather shoe, grinding her foot in circles, but didn't see any change in Adrian's expression. Today she wore flat shoes. She should have worn stilettos. Would have killed him. "What's up with Wesley?" Andy nudged his chin toward Nathan. "Weren't they all lovey-dovey? Why the sudden drinking binge?" "Probably had a fight." Nathan shrugged. "Been sitting here for half an hour without saying a word, drinking glass after glass. Anyone could see Wesley was in a bad mood." "What happened?" "Tell us. We'll give you some advice." Andy sat down next to Wesley. People who'd never dated before suddenly getting into a relationship were bound to have some missteps. With Ava's good temper, unless Wesley had done something, she didn't seem like someone who'd start trouble. "She doesn't like kids." Wesley's words left both of them speechless for a moment. Andy suddenly remembered something he'd heard mentioned before. "You've already progressed to talking about having kids?" Andy asked in surprise. Wesley gave him a look, then sighed lightly. "It came up by chance." Undoubtedly, he loved Ava very much, but at the same time, he really liked children and wanted to have children with Ava after marriage. He couldn't go against his heart and tell Ava he didn't care, so he hadn't chased after her. Right now, they both needed to cool down. He didn't want to do something irreversible on impulse. Her not wanting kids probably comes down to 2 reasons: dancing and her parents' favoritism. If you can handle those properly, maybe she'll change her mind in the future. Nathan patted Wesley's shoulder. For people like them, wanting to be child-free was practically a fantasy. Plus, Wesley himself really liked kids. After all, he'd grown up surrounded by love his whole life. He could give children complete and unconditional love. But as for Ava, no one could guarantee anything. "I don't want to change her." Wesley ran his hand through his hair, a hint of pain shadowing his features. Ava was the type who was soft on the outside but strong inside, extremely opinionated, setting aside whether he could change her mind. An Ava who compromised wouldn't be Ava anymore? Of course. He was more afraid that trying to change her would ultimately push them in completely different directions. Before getting out of the car today, she'd said without hesitation that if he couldn't accept it, they'd default to breaking up. That terrified him, as if the moment he showed the slightest hint of that attitude, she'd break up without hesitation. Just like 6 years ago when she'd left Adrian without hesitation to study abroad. He didn't dare gamble. She doesn't want to have children. Then how will you explain that to your parents, Wesley? Morgan, returning from the dance floor, covered her mouth in feigned surprise. She's just been spoiled by too many men, so she's arrogant, learning all that feminist stuff nowadays. You're too good to her, Wesley. Wesley removed his hand from his face and looked at Morgan with a frown. Whether or not she wants to have children is her right. I don't think anyone else has the authority to dictate what she does with her uterus. Everyone has the right to choose, don't they? Wesley paused slightly. Just like you chose your psychological gender as male, Ava and I have always respected you. Wesley picked up his jacket from the side and stood up. You guys have fun. I'm heading home. Morgan was stunned by Wesley's words for a full 10 seconds. She'd known Wesley for years. Wesley had always been sunny and cheerful, very respectful toward women. This was the first time he'd said something so harsh to her. Seeing Morgan's expression, Andy quickly smoothed things over. You know Wesley, Ava is basically his life right now. Why'd you have to say that in front of him? Nathan smiled and poured Morgan a drink. Wesley and Ava just had a fight. He's in a bad mood. Don't take it personally. Ava kicked off her shoes the moment she entered the foyer, tossing her bag aside. Seven heard the commotion and bounded over, pawing affectionately at Ava's legs. Ava had no strength and nearly got knocked over. The large hand at her waist steadied her firmly. Seven, Mommy's drunk. Go to bed. Don't bother Mommy. Ava bent down and petted Seven's head. Seven whined, then obediently walked away. He kept looking back every few steps, staring intently at Adrian behind Ava. When did you get a dog? Adrian steadied her, then bent down to open the shoe cabinet door. Ava mumbled something. Her mind was in complete chaos right now. She hadn't thought much about it and answered honestly. Gift from an ex-boyfriend. Adrian's hand paused mid-reach for the shoes.